This is another beautiful morning in Idaho Falls today. And as you can see, I have this beautiful red 1988 Dodge Dakota behind me. It has the 5.2 liter V8, 130,000 miles, automatic transmission, and it currently does not run, does not drive. Supposedly it did run when it was parked about 10, maybe 15 years ago. What happened was this was driven by an old couple. They bought it with like under 100,000 miles on it. They drove it for a while, and one day she started it, she was driving it, and then something locked up on her. She said she heard some weird sounds. She thought it was the transfer case, but the transfer case feels fine. When I was getting this thing on and off the trailer, the rear axle wasn't spinning, so I'm wondering if the rear axle locked up. But before we figure that out, obviously she needs some wheels. She has one good tire, all the other ones are flat, and two of them don't even have tires on them. And I want to hear this thing run before we do anything else. So we're going to throw a battery in it, see what happens. I'm actually going to give you guys a little walk around to this. Check it out. I mean, she is really clean. Paint's a little faded. If all goes well, we'll probably end up fixing that. There's your beast of a motor. A small block 318. This thing literally has no dents. And the interior is immaculate, guys. Immaculate. And let's see if I can get you on there. 130,000 miles. That is original mileage. So, ooh, there is a B. Anyways, I think it's time to crank this thing up. Key is in the ignition. We've got lights. We've got an annoying buzzer. And we've got absolutely nothing when we turn the key. So what we're going to do is jump the starter. Got my little trigger starter here. Got it hooked up to the signal wire on the starter. And we're going to hook it up to positive here. See if she cranks. 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah. She cranks good. She's sounding healthy so far. Put the key in the ignition, see if we have any fuel pumpage. I highly doubt it with how long this was sitting. He said he fired it up not too long ago, but I don't know. Probably on starting fluid. Oh. Okay, well, that was weird. Either we're out of gas or the fuel pump doesn't work. I don't know. Might have been some leftover starting fluid in there from when he tried to start it when I was originally looking at it. This is an in-tank fuel pump, so I think first things first, we'll dump some down the throttle body. Get it to run a little bit longer. Just hear how it sounds briefly, and then we'll dump some into the fuel tank, see if we get any pickup. If not, looks like we are doing a fuel pump. Fill that up. All right. That should be plenty. Oh. That sounded really good other than the ginormous air leak we have from the filter being off, but that sounds good to me. Shoot. Let's throw some fuel in the tank really quick, see if we're getting anything. And we'll kind of go from there. We do need to get some tires on this as well. I'm going to start with the easiest thing first, and we're going to check our ignition fuse, which is a little 5-amp fuse right here. Which appears to be good. I think the key's still in, actually. Fuse is obviously good because all the power turned off when I pulled that out. Now we're back on. What else do we got? Let's see, we're missing all the fuses that aren't important. Our starter relay. So next what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna test our wires going to the starter. So we got the leads hooked up to the positive cable going to the starter. We've got 12 volts there. So one more test we're gonna run with the big wire to the starter, because yes, it's hot all the time, but that does not mean it's good. So we have the test light hooked up to it now. And when we crank, that light should stay on. If that light goes out, that means we have a massive current draw and we have a problem with the big wire. Okay, that's a good sign. Our voltage wire is good. That is not our problem. So now we're hooked up to our small wire on the starter, which is our power wire from the ignition when it is turned. I'm gonna turn the ignition. You should see this light up when I'm trying to crank the car. If you don't, that's our problem. All right, well, we got no flash, which means we have a problem from our signal wire. It could either be dirty, it could be broken, there could be a fuse somewhere that's blown, but I'm pretty sure the fuses are good. So our next step is going to be to clean that wire and check it, make sure there's no breaks in it, make sure no mice chewed it after 10 years, and see if we can get this thing to crank with the key. It could also be a power or a problem with the neutral safety switch, because that determines if the car will crank in a certain gear. If that goes out, it might not let it crank at all, so it won't send power to the starter. That's another thing we got to check once I can get tires on this thing. It's currently way too low for me to get underneath it right now, but that usually could have been chewed up as well, and that's a pretty easy change. So here's the game plan now, because I don't want to put a ton of time into this when I haven't even seen it drive or anything yet. We can crank it over with my little bypass switch. So we're going to leave that for now. We kind of have an idea of what's going on. We're going to go grab some tires for it, since we're just on rims all the way around basically. Okay, well, I had these tires sitting around. They're 16s. Went and found these rims at the junkyard, so we're going to go get these tires pulled, these ones thrown on, and we'll have a new set of wheels for the Dodge way over there for under 250 bucks. So the wheels are on the truck. They actually look really good. I really like the stock look, the cleaner rims on the truck. Obviously you can't see it very well right now. Once we get this pulled out, you'll be able to. The issue we're having is back here. When I had the wheels jacked up, this wheel on the driver's side does not spin at all. I did get the wheel over here to spin, but it will only spin backwards. Now, here's my thought. Obviously, it's probably an open differential, which is why this one's spinning backwards, because this one's not moving. So if this one's not moving, it's going to be really hard for that one to turn. But what I'm thinking is that the brakes back here are seized up. They are drum brakes, so it's possible that water got in there and the e-brake could have seized and stayed in place, or the mechanism that actually pushes the pads up against the drum seized up last time they were used and locked in place, and now the wheel can't move. We're going to pull this wheel off right now and see if we can take the drum off. It's going to be kind of tough, I think, but I'm going to get that off, and once that's off, we'll see if it spins freely. First thing, obviously, make sure our brake is all the way up, so that should not be the problem. I'm gonna set that tire down. This is gonna be fun. Those brakes are seized. It's gonna be very hard to get this guy off. But you know what? I got some hammers. I'm just hey, what did I tell you? Now she spins. So yeah, we got some drum brakes to do. Spins nice too. So I'm really glad that it was something nice and simple like that. We'll do new wheel seals, all new brakes, everything. I mean, it's just completely locked up. And who knows, the transfer case could still be bad, but at least we're rolling now, and hopefully the transfer case is still good. Well, we got the wheels back on, and of course we got the old trusty tow rig hooked up to her. So we're just gonna pull her right over there to the shade, and we'll get this bed off and get this old nasty fuel pump out of there, and hopefully have this thing running today. What the? Unfortunately, the Camry is not strong enough to pull it. It is on kind of a hill, so we got the little bit of a bigger tow rig out to tow this thing out of here. There we go. Now we need to work on getting the bed off now that we're over here and have a lot more room. Ooh, it already looks better. What? No way. I already have the bed off. Yep, got a little carried away. Just a couple connections I got to undo, and then we are ready for the new fuel pump. Junkyard had one. This one has like a cool little filter on the bottom that the other one didn't have, so that's pretty sick. Anyways, let's get this thing in here. I need to hear this thing run. There we go. And connector. Guys, we're in. Now we just got to hook up the battery. This is the exciting part. Oh shoot, you know what we need to do? We need to grab my little trigger. Let's see. Let's put some fuel right into the throttle body. Okay. Ooh. So RPM gauge doesn't work, and fuel gauge doesn't work. I fixed up one of these a while ago, and the fuel gauge didn't work either. I think you'd have to get like a brand new sending unit, but it could also be something else, I'm sure. I'll have to do some research on that. I'm gonna go grab a radiator cap so we can let this thing warm up all the way before the coolant overflows, and then we'll go from there. But she seems to run pretty good so far. Radiator cap is on, it's running. And while this warms up, I kind of want to try something. The drive shaft's out of it right now, but why not put it in gear and see if the output shaft is spinning on the transfer case? And that'll kind of tell us if there is something wrong with the transfer case. Look at that. We're spinning. Our transfer case might be fine. Oil pressure's good. Voltage is good. We just have a non-working fuel gauge. All these other lights are on because there's some missing fuses, but she seems to be running good. Idle smoothed out a little bit, but I'm still going to do fresh plugs and wires on it. But I think right now we're going to throw the bed on. We're going to go grab a new U-joint because the U-joint in this drive shaft is pretty bad. Throw the drive shaft back in and take it for a drive. I think the transfer case is fine. I think it's the brakes that locked up, so we'll try to take it for a drive. I don't have very good brakes right now, but we'll see if it shifts, and then if it does, we'll start knocking out these brakes and everything. And U-joint is on, all shiny, new, and greased up. let's go get it on the truck. I'm gonna be honest, I was fighting that drive shaft for probably 4 hours because the output shaft was really rusty, so it wouldn't go on, so I had to clean that. Then I had the wrong U-bolt straps because I guess for these you need specific U-joint straps for the rear axle, otherwise they will not line up. So I ended up stripping a bolt out of the old yoke because there was dirt in there. I didn't clean it out because I was being lazy. Went and got a new yoke, went to Napa and got the proper U-joint straps, and now the drive shaft's in. Check it out. So it's finally time for a drive. Let's go. I'm gonna put this back in 2. It's back in park. Let's hook the battery up. So the biggest question right now is, do I have brakes? I do. Uh-oh. We are not moving. And we died. Oh, no way. The key works. But why are we dying is my question. Let me take a look at this. Let's try 4-wheel drive. Wow, it does not like that. Not sure why the key started working all of a sudden, but it's possible one of the fuses I put in could have had something to do with it. So I'm not going to complain though. So I jacked up the back wheels. I'm going to put it back into gear and we're going to see if it spins. If it does, we could have another locked up brake on the front. I don't know what would be the deal with all these locked up brakes, but I saw it spin earlier, so I know it does. This is weird. Okay, so see, we're spinning. So we should be moving. I think we might have either a brake problem or maybe the transfer case just can't handle the load, but I'm gonna bet we have a locked up brake up here. Let's pull it apart. I am 90% sure that the transfer case is bad on the Dakota. Right there. I put it in gear, and every gear, blocked the wheels, got underneath it. I can hear the internals of the transfer case spinning, but nothing's happening. So I think the chain in there, something's stripped, and every once in a while it'll catch, but most of the time it kind of just sits there and does nothing. So picked up this donor yesterday for 200 bucks. Everything's there. Supposedly it ran and drove. The guy that I bought it from a guy that said it ran and drove, but the rear axle went out and the fuel pump went out. So I'm going to pull the transfer case out of this one. We're going to throw it into that one today. And hopefully that solves everything. I really don't think it's the transmission, but like I said, I'm 90% sure it's a transfer case. So let's get this thing pulled out real quick. Well, the damn drive shaft. Well, she's out. New transfer case is in. She actually went really easy. Got the drive shaft out of the other truck in as well. It just slid right into the input shaft rather than having to be hammered, which is probably a good thing. So we're about ready to start this thing up and give it a try. And there's the old sad transfer case. Had to move some sensors over, but aside from that, swap went smooth. Okay guys, everything is hooked back up. Let's start it. Okay. I am like beyond nervous right now because my hopes are not up. I don't know if this is gonna fix it, but let's see. Unfortunately, guys, no luck. Dang it. I was really counting on that. That is a bummer. All right, well, this truck is done to me. Unfortunately, it's not worth my time to put a transmission in it, so on to the next.
So I just got off vacation. I have a cold, but I wasn't able to film the last part of the video because everything kind of happened during the span of that week that I was on vacation. But what ended up happening with that truck is I sold the parts truck to a buddy of mine for what I paid for it, so 200 bucks. And I traded the other truck with the bad transmission that we were working on to the same buddy for a running and driving four-wheeler. I was about $895 into all that setup. He gave me $200 for the parts truck, so I was $695 into it. He gave me the four-wheeler. The day before I left, I cleaned the four-wheeler up, put a new battery in it, got it running good, posted on Marketplace, and then halfway through my vacation, it sold. My wife sold it for me for $900. So I did come out with a little profit. I came out with $204 on top, which profit's profit. I'm happy with it. Now that being said, there are cars that are worth the time to put either a motor in it or a transmission, but you have to account not only the parts you're putting into it, sorry, I'm really congested, but you have to account for your time. You can't just have free labor in this game if you're running a business. So that's like a $2,000, $2,500 truck in my area, maybe three in perfect condition. With my time I already had into it, I've probably realistically lost money, even though I took a $200 profit. And throwing a transmission in that, especially without a lift, guys, and doing it on your back takes a lot more time, and it's just not worth it. I probably wouldn't have profited more than $500 if I had a transmission in it, which is still good, but I got other stuff I gotta do. That would take me some time, and it just wasn't worth it, especially not knowing the condition of the transmission in the parts truck. So that's why I didn't do the transmission in this one. It just doesn't have enough value to be worth my time added to the time I've already put into it to put a new transmission in it. With that being said, thanks for watching. Just know that there's always something that can go wrong. That's the risk in this game, flipping cars, flipping four-wheelers, flipping bikes. I mean, it's just part of it, but you learn to accept it, you move on, you learn from it. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video, and we'll see you next time.